In today's video, I'm going to be giving a full update of all of my basement aquariums, and I'm going to be sharing way more than I ever have on this channel to date. I'm going to walk through a ton of future plans and exciting news coming for Cichlid Bros in what I would call phase 2 of my basement aquariums. I can't wait to share some of this with you, so let's dive right in. Okay, so when you come down the basement stairs, this is what you see. You see the two big display tanks there. I have a desk. Down here is my laundry space, which also has a sink, which I use to drain and refill all of my aquariums. In that door on the left is a bathroom as well. But right here is where I edit all of our videos for the channel. If you didn't know already, I am the Cichlid Bro that does all the editing.
I am the one who knocks.
I will say it's the hardest part of all of our jobs. I guess Alec and Quinn are just the talent on the channel. But just kidding, they do a lot of work behind the scenes. It's just editing, I would say, is probably the hardest. But I have my laptop, microphone, and a content calendar, which is actually pretty full.
How neat is that?
If you've been following along on the channel recently, you've probably seen we've been posting more often. And that's a huge update for us. We are finally carving out more time to publish more videos in the coming months. We have a ton of topics and information we want to get out there, as well as some upgrades and new tanks that we can't wait to show you. So based on that calendar and everything I just said, you might be realizing now would be a great time to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you don't miss any of those future updates. We can't wait to share them. Let's continue with the tour. So moving into the basement, as mentioned, these are the two big display aquariums. On the left is my 150 gallon. On the right is my 180. And then over here is more of a den and man cave, which I haven't really shown before. It's just a lazy boy and a couch and a big screen TV. It's a really cool space just to sit here, relax, watch TV, and watch the big 180 or the side of the 150 here. I just love watching a movie or a game and just sitting here watching that and the aquarium, or just sitting here in the lazy boy and just watching the aquarium for days. Well, let's take a closer look at the 180 gallon aquarium here. If you didn't already know, these are South American cichlids. The biggest guy in the tank here, as you'll see front and center, is the Oscar. This is Nessie, my tiger Oscar. And then I have a big ball of shark, as you can see here, probably about 11 to 12 inches now. I have 4 different severums, including 2 red spot gold severums, which have actually been breeding in the tank recently. They've laid eggs, but they've had no luck in terms of getting them to hatch. I have a red shoulder severum, I have a turquoise severum, I also have a big chocolate cichlid. It's probably the 3rd biggest in the tank. It's one of my other fish with a name. This is Bigfoot. He's probably about 11 inches long now. And then of course I have my 7 Geophagus tapajos. These guys have been together for so long, and I basically grew them up a little bit more before I added some of the bigger fish so that they had a bit of a head start in terms of overall size and growth rate. I have a Geophagus steindachteri and electric blue acara, and overall this tank has just been awesome. It's been up and running for about 2.5 years now. As mentioned, most of these fish are about 4 or 5 years in age. The Oscar is the youngest right now at about 2 years. So it's a really cool tank. I don't see myself making any big changes here. But let's take a look on the left at my 150 gallon custom aquarium. This is a relatively new build, about 8 months since it's been set up, but this was built by Custom Aquariums and it is just an incredible tank. It also has South American cichlids, but these guys are a little smaller and a little more peaceful, or just less boisterous than something like the Oscar. I have 5 Geophagus finni, which are just beautiful, incredible fish. They're also pretty peaceful, just like the albino hecali, which is really coming along. The juripari, which is about 5 years old now. There's 3 electric blue acaras, there's 2 angelfish, and 7 denizen barbs, which provide a really cool schooling fish to the tank. Lastly, there are 3 plecos hiding somewhere in there, but this is a planted tank. I wanted to make it as natural as possible with sand, driftwood, rocks, and live plants. I have a lot of anubias, I have some java fern. In the back I have some jungle val, and I do have to dose the tank with fertilizer and add root tabs so that some of the rooted plants can get some nutrients as well. But overall, just looking forward to seeing this tank continue to grow. I'm going to be adding more plants to this tank over time, and I'll be sure to update the channel along the way. Before we move along in through that doorway, which is my work in progress fish room, this space here we're going to talk a little bit more about, and then there's a space to my left which we're going to get to at the end of the video, so stick around for that. But let's go ahead and move into my work in progress fish room. Okay, so this is the fish room, which is basically a storage room that I converted to add more space for tanks. As you'll see on the left, I have a 33 gallon, a 40 gallon, On the right, I have a 75, a quarantine tank on the ground, and a 20-gallon on the ground as well. So I basically converted this room, made it as aesthetically pleasing as I could, although it is just an unfinished storage room, so I did the best I could. I added some foam blocks for some of the audio to hopefully make that a better experience, and to kind of hide some of the unfinished walls. I also painted a little bit, but overall, there's still a lot of improvements to be made, and I'm going to be doing that here soon. But really quickly looking at this double rack, we built this stand about 8 months ago. On the bottom, I have a 40-gallon breeder tank. I recently did a video on this tank, which I'll leave in the upper right-hand corner, but this is a cold water aquarium with some gymnogeophagus species. I also have some panda cories and some green fire tetras. It's a really unique tank. Some of the gymnogeophagus are starting to get their colors and starting to look really nice, and I can't wait for that to grow into their full maturity. And then up above, I have my 33-gallon Fluval Flex. So this tank has African shell dwellers, and as you can tell, the scape is a little bit different than it was before. I went ahead and removed the dragonstone and kind of reorganized the tank with some different rock structures. I basically wanted to see the African shell dwellers a little better since they were piling up sand on the front curved panel of this tank. I also wanted to increase my water changes so I can combat some of the algae and cyanobacteria that's happening on the sand. It's starting to look a lot better, and the fish are definitely happy. They're breeding like crazy. There's probably about 40 shell dwellers in here, and I started with 8. So yeah, they've been getting to business for sure. The waves are rising and rising. And then over here is my 75-gallon Peacock Cichlid tank. These are all males, and right now there's about 14 in here, I believe, maybe 13. And they're really starting to grow and color up nicely. I feel like every day that I look in this tank, there is a new peacock that is starting to color up. And it's just been an amazing tank that I did not think I would fall in love with so quickly, but these fish are awesome, and it's only going to get better. I have some plans for this tank, which I might share towards the end of the video, I might not. But overall, I see more peacocks and more tanks in the near future. But below this tank, I have my 10-gallon quarantine tank. There is a fish in there that I haven't been sharing, but eventually I will give an update on that fish. And then over here on the right is another tank that's on the ground, and that's my electric blue acara grow out. I've given about half of these to my local fish store, and then the other half that's remaining will be going to another local fish store very soon. But it's just been a very cool breeding project. I love electric blue acaras, and it's just been really cool to see that full process. But yeah, that is my work in progress fish room. I also have some supplies here and my Cichlid board and fish nets. But there are some updates I want to talk about. Let's go in the other room and talk about that now. Okay, so now for some of those really exciting future plans, which I would call phase 2 of my basement aquariums. And first off is that nook right as we walked into the fish room, so let's go over there and check it out. Okay, so I have plenty of space right here where this treadmill and some workout equipment is, and the plan is to move that out of the way and get a big new custom aquarium. That is currently in the works, and I'm not going to share exactly how big, but it's going to be another really big quality display tank, and I can't wait to show what it's going to be. I have a lot of very cool plans that are going to go in that tank. I not only have some awesome new fish, some new technology I'm going to use, some new product reviews. Can't wait to set up that tank and show the full progress on this channel. It'll be really cool having the 2 big South American tanks, and right along the side here having another big custom aquarium. There is a big space here that I can't wait to work with, and it's going to be really cool to see it all come together. Okay, and then just over here on the left is something I haven't shown before, and this is kind of an unfinished nook of the basement, which we haven't really used much other than for some leftover storage. But the plan here is to either finish this completely and add some more space for more equipment and tanks, and just make it look much nicer in general. I kind of have plans to have a big rack here for a lot of my equipment, a lot of fish food, things of that nature. And then here on the wall here by the fridge, and moving some of this junk out of the way, having more space for tanks, either moving aquariums out of the fish room and putting them in here, or just adding new tanks to the basement. I like that second option a little better. There was some weird construction in this house when we moved in here, so just starting to get some of that squared away. We actually removed a random doorway here, and it'll hopefully make this area a little more aesthetically pleasing, a little more livable, something I'll want to show on camera even. And a lot of those updates to the basement are going to be coming very soon. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing all my basement aquariums. In summary, we have so much going on. Not only do we have way more content coming on the channel, but we have new aquariums, new upgrades, new fish, equipment, everything under the sun. It's coming very soon. So if you didn't already realize, now is the best time to be subscribed to this channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.